The artist and the businessman pursue two different things. One, the businessman pursues profit. The successful businessman will try to maximize profit, maximize returns on investments. He's logical, he's calculating, he thinks about things in terms of mathematics, numbers. That's his game. The artist pursues something completely different. The artist pursues passion. He follows his emotions. He lives and breathes by what he feels, not what he thinks. For better or for worse, the problem for me, and people like you, if you're watching this, is that the entrepreneur, the solopreneur, the creative, independent-minded person, you have to be both. You gotta be a businessman and you have to be an artist, because you have to be creating something, but you also have to sell it. You have to pitch it. That's just as much your job as the creating is generating interest. And that means you have to be two people at the same time. That's difficult. It seems to be that most people lean one way or the other. You're either artistically inclined and you kind of do things even if they don't make any business sense because you're passionate about it, or you're a business person and you think about profit, you want to make money, you want to have that glamorous lifestyle, but you're gonna find and pay somebody to do the legwork for you. There's nothing wrong with either method. The problem is these are two very different disciplines. They use different parts of your brain, and being able to master both of them is problematic. So what you need to do is you need to realize, what are you pursuing? As a human being, what do you want? Are you pursuing profit, or are you pursuing passion? Because no matter which one you're pursuing, both can come to you, but you need to understand what you're trying to accomplish. So when you go out there and you do your thing, that you're focusing on that one part. If you care only about profit, you're not going to so much try and monetize your passion. Because a lot of the times your passion isn't going to be profitable. If you're someone who enjoys doing, abstract painting, it's gonna be very difficult to make that profitable, even if you're passionate about it. Let's say you're that person, you're that painter. If you're business-minded, you're going to realize that that has a very low percentage of making you profit. So you're gonna relegate that to a hobby and do something else, a day job or some other passion you might have that leads you to financial success. If you're the artist, you're gonna hit that hard and you're gonna struggle, and you're gonna go all into it, realizing and understanding that the chances of success are slim. Two different ways to think about it. I've been struggling with this a lot the last couple months. I have a project called Sorcerer's Lost. I've talked about it a few times on this channel. I love it. I want to make it the best it can be, but all throughout my life, I have been very much both of these disciplines at the same time. And that is a huge problem because it creates friction when trying to figure out what I want to do. I have my artistic side. I enjoy creating. I enjoy making things. But I also have my business side because I know that I don't want to do a 9-to-5. I don't want to fall into that trap. I don't want to live my life trying to give up, 5 days of my week to accomplish someone else's dream, someone that I've probably never even met, have no sort of relationship with at all, and don't even care about what they're trying to accomplish. I can't do that. Not with good conscience. It'll drive me crazy. So I'm both. I'm very much both. And they're both kind of rubbing against each other. The profit-minded business person in my head wants to do something that'll attract the most customers, that'll generate the most business, that'll easily give me the most returns for as little effort and as little investment as necessary. However, the artist has very specific passions that it likes to pursue, and it knows most of the passions that I'm most strongly energized for are going to generate the smallest amount of financial return or be the most difficult to monetize. And so they fight each other constantly, trying to figure out which one will get out on top. And Sorcerer's Lost has been a victim of this. And really my creativity entirely has been a victim of this conflicting mentality. And I think a lot of other people in this position might be able to relate to this. I enjoy storytelling. my primary passion. But how I tell my stories has always been something that the business side of my brain is kind of taken care of. I'm primarily a writer. That's my best skill. What I'm best at is putting pen to paper, creating words, telling stories with words. And I've always been an artist in my life too, like drawing, illustration, stuff like that, but I've never been as good. But it's much easier to generate a following, and by extension, financial income, around the visual arts. Despite the fact that my passion artistically is in writing, the business side of me is always trying to take that small skill that I have in illustration and interject it into that so I can get the most financial return out of my investment of time and effort. And this leads to problems because inevitably, the closer I get to pursuing money, the passion begins to erode away. And so the first compromise was the motion comic. The motion comic was probably the format that was the most business savvy and the least passion driven, because motion comics could go on YouTube, does a huge reach, it's visual, it's animated, there's no reading involved, it'll all be spoken with dialogue, there'll be music, sound tracks, people. It was crafted to take the idea that the artist generated and put it in the most monetizable format that my skill set allowed. But the artist didn't like doing it because the businessman has the idea, but the artist is the one that has to do the work. And when you tell the artist to do work that it doesn't care about, it pitches a fit. And so eventually it shut down. And so the businessman relented. It's like, okay, I tried. I'll compromise with you some more. Let's step back from motion comics. Let's go to just a comic book. You don't have to do any animation anymore. We don't have to worry about sound. Just do some panels, get some visuals in there. This method is proven. There's tons of webcomics that are successful. Can you do that? And the artist relented and got to work on that. But the same thing happened again. Eventually, it was taken away from his passion, from what he actually cares about, which is telling the story with words. Too often when I was working on my comic, I would spend a couple days writing the script. A script for a comic is a lot shorter and a lot less involved than writing a chapter of a novel or something like that. And then it would take months, days, weeks, months to actually do the drawing part. And as much as the artist enjoys the occasional illustration, doing dozens, if not hundreds of illustrations for a single issue of a comic book that you could have done in a fraction of the time when writing it out as a novel with more pleasure in the actual task, by the time I got to page 10, the artist shut down again. And so the businessman is at the end of his rope. He's like, you only want to do this one thing that nobody will care about. This isn't going to make us any money, or it's going to be infinitely more difficult to try and attract people to come and pay, and even pay attention to what you want to do. But the artist is steadfast in his belief that this is the only thing that is worth his time. And so there are these two raging sides in my psyche. And I think a lot of people deal with this too. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of independent creatives who want to do things their own way, who have to wear all the hats, have to do this. Because normally, if I wasn't trying to go the indie route, if I just wanted to write and pass it off to a publisher, and they'd worry about getting it promoted and getting the word out there, because they had, a specialized audience they've already targeted, they know how to appeal to those people, and they'd take care of the money part. All I have to do is sit in my room and create. But because I want this independence, because I want to do it my own way, because I'm, I guess, a bit of a narcissist, I want to do it all myself. I want to revel in that success myself. And I enjoy the freedom that independence allows. And because of that, I gotta be both people. And both people are fighting each other. Because one realizes what sells and one realizes what they want to do. So at the end of the day, who won? Who am I more? Which side of me has more pull? It's the artist. The artist has always been there first. The artist was there as a child. The artist was there all throughout, elementary school and middle school. It was only later in life that the businessman took form, once he realized what the world really was. And he's still younger. He doesn't have as much pull in my mind. This is getting kind of weird sounding. But the artist is always going to win at the end of the day. Even if that means that my overall condition as a human being living in the actual physical world decreases. Because what is money but a token of how successful one is and the ability you're able to do in the real world. So what I'm trying to say is that I think Sorcerer's Lost is probably going to be light novels, which has a fraction of a possible audience that webcomics does, which is a fraction of the audience that an animation on YouTube, which is a fraction of whatever is above that, like Let's Plays or something, I don't know. So the artist is one. And I think for a lot of people this causes confusion, so I kind of wanted to just share this kind of journey, this back and forth I've had for months now. This also explains why Sorcerer's Lost hasn't started yet. If you're independent, if you're doing all this yourself, you gotta wear both hats. Which hat is bigger? The businessman or the artist? Are you gonna pursue profit or are you gonna pursue passion? It's an important question to ask yourself, and it's important to resolve it early. Because you resolve it early, you're not gonna run into the problems I am right now, where they start butting heads over the direction your project is going. If you can identify very early that you want to pursue profit, you're going to be able to take your drawing skills, your music skills, your writing skills, whatever it is you do, and apply that ideally probably to doing fan creations of some sort, because you can capitalize on that pre-existing market. If you're pursuing passion, you're going to do exactly, whatever that creative part of your mind comes up with, whatever it is. It's never going to be the most profitable. It's never going to be what makes the most sense. It's just going to be what resonates with some weird, intangible, abstract part of your soul. And, profits be damned. You'll do whatever you have to do to scrape by. But as long as you're living by your passion, that's going to be what's important. So understand going in when you start something what it's in pursuit of, passion or profit. And that'll help kind of keep the arguments with the two sides of your brain in check. My name's Tommy Oliver. You guys are watching Rebel Pixels, a channel all about empowering and impassioning the DIY creator here on the web. If that is you, if you live and die by your art, you need to hit that subscribe button below and join the family. I do videos like this every week talking about crazy, intangible inner conflicts like this, as well as some more structured videos with reviews, tips, gear, DIY stuff, all about, technical things that help you make the best stuff that you can on the web and beyond. So if that's you, join the family. Leave a comment below talking about if you're more business-minded or more artistically inclined. Are you in pursuit of profit or are you in pursuit of passion? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be joining in the discussion. Until next time, I'm Tommy Oliver. This is Rebel Pixels, reminding you guys we might be indie. That doesn't mean that we're alone. Catch you all next week.